say you aren't somebody who has a beginning or an end, and you're somebody who just has a scene. Because, like, I know a lot of people, they're like, gosh, like, this is such a cool scene that I really like. And I know I've talked about this before. But so say you only have that. Your outlining needs to be, where is that going?
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to outline, like, where do you want the story to end from that scene? Like, what is that scene supposed to build up to? What is that scene supposed to say about your characters? And then you need to also be like, okay, so what got my character there? Why are they in this specific scene? So it all just stems, I think, really it all just stems from, like, the scene that you have, beginning or just a random one.
Hey guys, welcome to the Untitled Work podcast. I am your co-host Lauren.
And I am your co-host Darcy.
And today we are going to dive into story outlining. So, Darcy, what questions do you have? Oh, okay. Boo.
No, I was saying woo.
Oh, you said boo. I was like, well, you're a pantser, so I guess that makes sense.
No.
Story outline.
Done. So story outlining. Okay. Well, I guess the most important thing is, what is a story outline?
Well, okay, here. Let a planner tell a pantser what a story outline is, just so that we're on the same page.
Appreciate that.
I mean, as you would say, it's what's on the tin. It's basically just an outline of, like, think of it as like the 1,000-foot view of the story that you want to tell. So at least from a planner standpoint, that's how I view it. It's basically just like major moments, major beats of the story that your character is going to go through. Save the Cat actually outlines this really well. I've shared that book with you and I talk about it way too much. But
Lauren
I really
loves Save the Cat.
I do. I enjoy it because I like structure. And I think if I can get into a rhythm with it, but I know it's not everyone's jam, and that's totally fine. But Save the Cat does outline it really well in what they call the beat sheet. And so there's like specific like beats or moments that they say every story has. The way it's presented in a story, in a novel or a movie can be different, but they still, if you were to look at the core element of it, it's still the same thing. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like, yeah, like you were saying, like just the overall, like the overview. Like if you're looking down at the story and you're God, what is this world that you're creating? And where do you need to go with it, basically? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it also helps you identify plot holes before you get there, which can be super helpful because
Super helpful.
even if you're a pantser and you're doing it, I imagine, I'm not speaking for pantsers. But I imagine that even as a pantser, if you were to just do this mentally and just kind of think through, okay, if my character is going to start here and then they're going to go here, or like, I think maybe, I want to get to this point with my character, then you can kind of think through the moments along the way and be like, oh, wait, does that make sense for the character who I've established to be X to do this other thing?
Yeah. And doing it that way too, it also helps, like, bouncing off of that, it also helps with like identifying characters that are needed to get to those story beats.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah, so it's like you look at it and you're like, okay, well, the character needs to go here, but they aren't going to make the decision to go there, so how are we going to get them? And a lot of times it's a character, which then you would need to work out in your character Bible, like we talked about, was it 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. Man, time has flown.
Jeez, really?
I feel like yesterday was January 1st.
Right, and we're already 4 episodes in on season 2. It's crazy.
That's wild. Man, all the little tippy taps.
Sorry, my dog just like freaked out.
Oh, puppy.
If you see my... what is she... Can you hear her?
Yeah, I could hear little tippy taps.
She was like squeezing under the chair to get back into her bed, even though there's like a very large opening to get to the...
She's like, I want to be as close to you as I possibly can.
Seriously. Goodness. Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's cute. I always love dog interruptions.
Yeah.
And cat interruptions. Too cute. But okay, back on track.
Sorry.
That's kind of what a story outline is. No, you're fine. That's basically what a story outline is. But I guess, Darcy, I really cannot speak for pantsers. How would you, as a pantser, view a story outline if at all, how much outlining, developing, etc. do you do? Because I know as a pantser, you like to find the story along the way, but
So, yeah, so, I might be a little different from some pantsers when it comes to this specifically. I very much know where I wanna start and where I wanna end.
mhm.
I know a lot of the times, like, I'll have the last, chapter, scene, page of my
Yeah,
book written already.
yeah, yeah.
It's sometimes the first thing that I write.
Mhm.
So I know where I need to go,
Yeah.
and then and the issue is, right, as a pantser, because I run into a lot of issues where I have to go back in my next drafts and find the plot holes, because I am
Mhm.
going with the flow, I'm writing, so
Yeah,
things hit, and they characters are also, like, being created in the moment, so sometimes they
yeah.
don't work and they come off like
Yeah. Booker.
yeah. Like, sometimes I'll create a character that's, like, really important in the beginning, but they're not important at the end, but I feel like I
Mhm.
have to keep them around now, and it's like I
Yeah.
need to or, like
Let you go, be free.
yeah, or, like, sometimes, like, you need to, like, combine 2 characters, like, you have one character that's, like,
Mhm.
gonna help the character get to one spot, and then another
Yeah,
character that's gonna help them get to another spot, and I have to be
yeah.
like, "No, I just need to make them one person,"
I see.
so it's
Okay.
less, like, all over the place,
Yeah.
but yeah, so my biggest thing is, like, that's how I start, right? That's how I
Yeah.
start with my world building, and then as
Okay.
I go, scenes come to me that are gonna happen later on. So that's why sometimes you'll get texts from me that is like, "Oh, what if we did something
Yeah.
like this at one point?" And you're like, "We're not
Yeah.
there yet."
Yeah. I'm like, "Hang on a second, we haven't even
Yeah.
started the car."
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, those are great. I totally resonate, with that, though. I mean, I don't know if that's, like, maybe I've got a little bit of a pantser in me, like, I've got a little bit of the pantsing gene, but it's like I think I'll find myself thinking of like, "Oh, this moment would be so cool," or like, "What if all this stuff happened?" And just like very vague little notions of an idea, and I'm like, "And then it results in this."
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
the climax or the end of the story, and you're like, "Oh, shoot, I gotta go back and like put in the work to find the rest of the story."
And sometimes that's where I hit my most writer's block is because I
Mm.
already know where I wanna end, and I haven't gone
Yes.
in a direction to get there.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. It's
So
like, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so sometimes, that's not the best course of action. It's not the
I mean,
best way to go about it.
right, there's no best way, right? Like, the way that you do it as a pantser works just fine, the way that I do it as a planner works just fine, there's no right or wrong with it. I think there's just some benefits to one versus the other or mixing the 2 of them sometimes.
I think mixing the 2 of them is really the best way to go about it, personally, like,
Yeah.
just from
Mhm.
experience now with,
Yeah.
doing all of the how we didn't plan and then we did plan Nostalgia of You, but I still had, like, that pantser, like, freedom to just
Yeah.
kinda and, like, find
Yeah.
everything as I went.
Yeah.
I definitely think combining them is the best way to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm biased, so yeah, I like the planner part.
Yeah, fair enough.
I will say, one of the other things to keep in mind when, like, making a story outline is that it can change. It really is truly just a roadmap for you. So, like, in a couple what was it, 2 episodes ago when we talked about character development? I think it was 2 episodes
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, 2
We
episodes
talked about
ago.
yeah, we talked about making sure that your characters are motivated. So if you find that natural motivation for X character, then they will do X, Y, or Z thing. So it's like it takes you if your character doing something naturally takes you in a different direction than the story outline has set up, that's actually probably a good thing because it means like this is actually more nuanced, more natural. This makes more sense to the reader as well. And the outline was just a big perspective to kind of give you an idea of where you're going.
Yep.
So it's like you don't want to be so locked into an outline that you lose the ability to just find the story as you're going.
It's a living document just like the character
Yeah.
Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, for planners, well, perfectionists too, probably, but at least for planners and perfectionists, it's actually a really great tool for getting out of writer's block. Like what you were talking about earlier, of like you tend to like we'll get into writer's block around like plot holes and things like that when you are going back to tell the story. Is
Yeah.
that if you have an outline when you go to actually do the chapter itself or the scene itself in your writing, it gives you something to start from. It gives you like a jumping off point. Because it's like the thing that we talked about before of like just show up, just write. Like in season 1, we talked about that a lot. Like write it bad, show up, write, set a timer, and just get something on the page because you can't edit nothing. And so it's like the
That
outline
first
gives
draft's
you
not gonna be
something.
good.
Don't say that, Darcy. It's gonna be
Yeah.
perfect. No, just kidding. I'm kidding.
Kinda going off of basically what you were saying, that's, like, one of the things that I found the most with, like, us doing all of these different outlines is that it
Mhm,
gives you somewhere to go off of because, um, take for example, so we were working on our story beats today,
mhm.
and, we've planned out the beginning of this book in depth
Yes.
so many
A little
times.
bit.
Yeah, so but every time we get to the last part that we planned out, even today with the story beats, we were like, so where do we go from here?" And and if I was writing and I was pantsing through it, that would be what happens, is I would hit that point where it's like, "Okay, we're going. This is it. We're getting in the
Mhm.
car."
Yep. Yep.
And then I'd be like, "Oh, well, crap, now where do I go?" Because there's a
Yeah.
whole middle section to get to this end section that we have planned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
that's what
we actually do
the
have the end section planned, don't we? I
we
totally forgot
do.
about that. We've
Yeah. We have the beginning and the end, just not the middle, because you were like, "Zombies." We never
Yeah,
talked
that's
about
your
it.
department. How do you That's your department, Panzer.
It's both of our departments, because I need to know what you wanna
Uh,
learn from those zombies.
I don't wanna learn anything from zombies. I don't even wanna talk to them.
Not even Gregory?
Oh, alright, I'll talk to Gregory. Although, okay, really
Maybe.
funny thing, and I don't think this is, like, spoiling anything, but we talked about how there's town zombies in Matilda's town, like, those zombies are a very different type from, like, the real world
Yeah.
zombies, from, like, the rest of the world that she encounters, and I'm just, like, dying as I'm thinking of some of the scenes that we've talked
They're
about.
so good.
Oh my gosh,
Uh
I am excited for those, it's gonna be funny.
Yeah, and and another really good thing about, like, outlining is, it gives you marketing material because while we were
Oh my
outlining, we came
gosh.
up with a really fun idea.
So funny, you guys.
It's so good. I think
Oh.
I think everybody's gonna really enjoy it.
I hope so. I thought it was hilarious. Now, granted, we may go and do it and like nobody thinks it's funny, but I think it's I think it's great.
Just us laughing in the corner and everybody's like,
That's fine.
You good? Are you okay?"
It's fine. Matilda said it was great. Don't worry about it.
Listen, it makes us happy and that's what matters.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's fun. But this okay, but see, that's what I was talking about in the last episode of like sometimes it's hard for me to come up with like marketing ideas or like fun story ideas for my own for like our own stuff, but like my own stories in general. But I can look at everyone else's and be like bing bing bang bang boom. But like
Yeah.
us talking through the different scenes, I was like, oh wait, no, there's like a whole and it just like was a trigger moment. That's not a bad trigger, good trigger. Um I don't know why I needed to specify, but we're
Not
keeping
me,
that.
okay. Oh gosh. Well, hello, my name is Darcy and I snort.
So it's normal. It's fine. I
Um,
know someone who has what we lovingly joke and call the tea kettle laugh.
oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's so funny and cute though. You're just like, ah.
Look at him go.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's hilarious. But
Okay, so is there a difference between outlining and story beats?
that's a really good question. I think they can be one and the same, but you can also differentiate them. So it's kind of a non-answer. So like if you wanted to call your outline a story beat and just keep it kind of like base level, you can totally do that. If you wanted to make them different things, the story beat would theoretically be more in depth moments versus an outline can just be very high level like big picture concept element of like character A starts here and goes here and here and here and meets character B, C, D, and F kind of a thing. So you can keep it kind of, big picture if you want, or you can go a little bit more in depth. It again, just supposed to help you. Yeah. You have something, I can tell.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of funny that you explain it that way because for some reason in my brain an outline is, like, breaking down each individual chapter with, like, more depth, and then
Mm.
the story beats is the big moments that you have to hit throughout the story.
Oh,
So that
interesting, okay.
yeah, so that's so funny that we
Yeah,
kinda, like, have that revert well,
opposite. Yeah.
yeah.
But see, that's the good point. That's the importance of communicating as
Yeah.
co-writers. Like, if I was like, "Let's do story beats," and I'm like 12 paragraphs in, you're like, "What the heck?"
What is happening?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
um
I mean, yeah, I think it could be I mean, I guess you could make it either, but I think that they can be one and the same, or they can be differentiated depending on how much time and effort you wanna put into actually figuring those out.
yeah, and, a really fun thing too, I think, with the outlines that, to keep in mind and the story beats and all of that,
Yeah.
is that, you can write out, like, the scenes too, like, if you have moments and stuff where you, like, have, like, a line or something that you wanna make sure you include, even if you
Mhm.
don't know, like, the scene, but you have
Yeah,
that specific line, you can add
yeah.
that into your outline or your story beat
Mhm.
just so you can pull it from
Oh,
somewhere
yeah.
and be like, "Oh, yeah, hey, this was
Oh,
something
yeah.
that I wanted to include."
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Do you have any docs, like a Word doc or, a Google Doc where you've just got random, like, lines that don't have
yeah.
scenes with them, but it's just like, "If I ever got to this point and I made this scene, here's a great line for it." Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
have,
yeah, yeah.
like, notes on my phone where,
Yeah.
because I have a lot of different, like, OCs in my head that,
Mhm.
I'm not, like, writing for or anything, but they'll say something and I'm like, "Oh, let me add this to your doc because
Mm.
this would be really great when I finally get to your story."
Wait, what's an OC?
Original character.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
occupational catastrophe?
No, it's, like, Matilda and Gregory and stuff, there are OCs, like, there
Okay.
are original
Yeah.
characters. I think that might be more, like, online talk, I'm not really
Okay.
sure, but,
Maybe more fanfic or something?
art too, like, when people
Okay.
create, like, their own, like, characters with art, they call them OCs,
Oh, okay.
so I
Interesting.
don't know if that falls within, like, how that works, but
Yeah.
it just means
Hmm.
original character.
Okay. Cool. Learned
Yeah.
something new. I learned a lot of
Yeah.
new things today.
I learned so many things today.
We have
Um,
been doing a lot of story outlining today and getting more
yes.
character development and coming up with ideas for future books in this
Yes.
world and staying on track and not getting derailed by going down those rabbit trails. I think we
Yeah.
no joke came up with like 2 or 3 more book ideas just
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, because we talked about, like, 3 other
Yeah.
characters.
I don't wanna say though, like, who they are because, like,
Yeah.
I wanna know who the audience wants to hear more about. Because like, I feel like you and I could come up with, like we're coming up with all these backstories, right? And that might be, like, the dilemma of the planner is that you come up with so much backstory, you're like, "Well, I've gotta tell this story," because it's like I mean, okay, guys, so Darcy wrote the backstory of one of the characters and literally we had 1 line for the relationship with the dad and 1 line for the relationship with the mom, and this is the power of planning, truly, and character development. And I read those and I'm like, "This man is absolutely devastated. You just destroyed his entire childhood and given him so much baggage as an adult in 2
Yeah.
lines, literally just
And
1
who
line
I
per parent. I was like, "Dang."
and I think there were only, like, 4 words per line.
I know, they were so short. It wasn't even like a run-on sentence or anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's like so again, like that is the power of giving yourself some outlines and planning. And again, it's not about pantsing versus planning and one being right and one being wrong, but there is some really cool stuff that you can discover when you just write something out.
Yeah. And, so with outlining and story beats,
Hmm.
does world building kind of builds into that too? Or would
Yeah.
that be because you would kinda need the world building before that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think it just depends on how, like, what kind of world you're entering into. Like, if you're
True.
entering into like a modern day New York City, like, you don't need to like you could literally just say modern day New York City, and then we've all got a pretty decent idea of what that looks like.
Yeah.
Or, a modern day New York City versus New York City in the 80s versus New York City in the 20s versus, like that. So many different vibes just from that change. But if you're doing like historical or if you're doing fantasy, I imagine you probably need to do some world building before you get there or anything where
Yeah.
there's like a twist to the world or some elements to the world that you're writing that doesn't have that people just aren't immediately aware of or familiar with. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I know we'll get into that, in a
yeah.
later episode. I just wanted to kinda
Yeah.
because I guess the biggest question, right, with when you're outlining and you're doing story beats is where do you
Mhm.
start? Like, how do you start?
Mhm.
Because I know that's like a lot of the things that people get stuck on with the writing world is like, oh, where the heck do I start?
See, I think you could start one of 2 ways that there are 1 or 2 ways that make the most sense to my brain, and I'll be curious if you guys start a different way, comment it below so that we can hear the way you guys do it because I'd be really curious, especially if you're a pantser and you have a different perspective than Darcy.
Yes,
Super
please.
curious if you how you pants the outlines or the story beats, right?
Every time you say pantser, I'm just like, why are we pulling people's pants down?
It reminds me of, like, the dumb kid pranks that we would do in the, like, early 2010s or 2000s or
Yeah.
whatever, and just be like,
Like
"Okay."
every time you're like, Darcy's a pantser, and I'm like, oh, no, 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 no.
She's like, "I did not agree to that title."
Keep your pants on.
Quote of the day. Please, everybody do that.
Yeah, please.
I prefer that. Oh my
I'm sorry.
gosh, derailed,
Uh,
absolutely derailed. Um, gosh, I don't even remember what we were talking about.
where to start? So
Oh, yes. Okay. There are 2 ways in my mind that make sense to start. One is if you have the ending in your mind of like that final chapter or that final scene or that final moment, having that written out and then going to the beginning and being like, how did we get here? Or I guess working backwards from that moment of being like big epic battle, dark night of the soul, blah 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 blah. That working backwards can be a little tricky because you have to devolve your character, which means you have to be really intentional about devolving them because they can't be great throughout the whole thing. Otherwise, it's going to be a really boring story.
yeah,
Like, Superman. That's the biggest reason I don't really like Superman. Is I'm like, he literally is impossible to destroy,
yeah,
minus one stupid rock that somehow the bad guy of every movie always has.
yeah.
And that's it. Literally, you can't do anything else to him. You can't shoot him. You can't do this. You can't do that. He's faster than I'm just like,
It's
there's no character growth. Like, I know DC people will fight me on that, but I'm like,
no. I mean, I agree too. It's one of the reasons why I like Batman more.
Yeah.
Because he does have that character growth. I mean,
Yes,
he goes
so
from like,
much.
we don't kill, we don't kill, we don't kill to trauma happening, and all of a sudden that man uses guns. So like,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Well,
like,
he has so
there's
much that happens to him earlier, and like, yeah,
mhm.
it's yeah,
He's a deeper character. I think Superman's kind of two dimensional. I really like Superman. Don't get me wrong, but he's definitely a two-dimensional character, just
yeah,
because a lot of who he is just because he's like a good person. Like that's his whole shtick. He is
yeah.
the epitome of good. Like
I will always do the right thing no matter what, and there's only one green stick that can destroy me,
oh,
and, oh man, that guy stabbed me with the green stick, and now I might die, but actually, I'm really good, so I'm good to
yeah.
go. I'm just like,
And
"Alright."
then you introduce like Supergirl into it, and
Yeah.
she is what gives him more depth because
Mhm.
she has all of this stuff. She's a much more like intricate character.
Well, I think maybe that's it. I also haven't watched any of the other super stuff. I don't watch a ton again, I don't watch a ton of Superman, like, when it's an option. It's just more of, like, I've picked up little bits along the way, and I've seen, like, the 2005 one or
Yeah.
whatever. But I think the interesting thing about that you just shared is that Supergirl has emotional maturity she needs to go through to get there versus Superman feels like he's already good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's not wrestling with all these deep inner turmoil questions. He's not
Yeah.
making the wrong choice. He's not like, is it Hitch? Not Hitch. The one where, Will Smith plays a superhero, but he's really bad at being a superhero. It's not Hitch. That's a different Will Smith movie.
Oh, but I do know what you're talking about, though,
You know
because
yeah.
he, like, wrecks that guy's car or something in it,
Yeah,
and he's,
yeah,
like,
yeah. He, like,
drunk all the
doesn't
time.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, yeah. It's like, that's a really interesting character, like, someone who wants to do good, but just bumbles his way along and has so much growth to go through, and so, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, all that to say the main ways I see going through, like, outlining is either starting at the end with if you have an ending scene already and working your way backwards, or is going to the beginning, whether you have that ending scene or not, and being like, "This is whose story I'm telling," knowing your character, and just walking along the way to see where they go.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I think, the biggest thing too, I think, is, like you were saying, having a scene to start from is
Mhm,
probably gonna be your best way to start outlining, like, so say you aren't somebody who has a beginning or an end, and you're somebody
mhm,
who just has a scene, because like, I know a lot of people, they're like, "Gosh, like, this is such a cool scene that I
mhm,
really like," and I know I've talked about this before,
mhm,
but so say you only have that, your outlining needs to be, where is that going?
mhm,
Because you need to outline, like, where do you want the story to end from that scene? Like, what is that scene supposed to build up to? What is that scene supposed to say about your characters? And
mhm.
then you need to also be like, "Okay, so what got my character there? Why are they in this specific scene?" So it all just stems, I think, really, it all just stems from, like, the scene that you have, beginning, end, or just a random one. Like Lauren was saying, it's just you have to build from wherever you have an idea, and you have to build on it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons that I really like Save the Cat is that what they recommend in that book is that you write out these scene ideas that you have on flashcards or on index cards, and then you just start mixing them up and moving them around and being like, "Oh, my scene was like this, and I had this as the climax, the big battle scene, the moment." But really, that could actually work as like a false victory in the middle of the book that then leads to the actual climax scene. Or, oh, actually, this, if I tweak it this way, it could actually be a better moment over here. Or, oh, I've developed the story enough to realize this scene doesn't work the way it is anymore. I need to either change it or lose it. And so it's
Yeah.
just like there's an element of like some structure to let you play around in.
Yeah. And, ideas for, like, outlining too, like, if you kinda, like, don't really know what beats you need to hit, um, I always hate saying this, but it really is the best way. Look at your cheesy rom-coms. If you look at those
Hey,
b
ours aren't cheesy.
no,
I
no,
was
like
the nostalgia view
I
is so
mean,
cheesy.
ours is so cheesy.
It came from the Tillamook cheese factory pretty much.
Yeah. Um, but so if you watch, like, a romantic comedy,
Mhm.
those always, every single time, you know exactly how they're gonna go because they hit each beat very specifically and very obviously, which is what makes
Yeah,
them fun, which makes them
yeah,
enjoyable.
yeah.
But if you're like, "I don't know how I'm supposed to, like, plan out story beats,"
Mhm.
even if you're not writing a romantic comedy, they're still
Yeah.
showing you the story beats because the big fight that happens before they come back together, that's always
Mhm.
your, what's
It's
the
the
save the
false
cat term?
defeat.
Yeah, the false defeat, right.
Yeah, there's
So
a false victory or a false defeat, and usually it's the inverse of, a different moment that I'm blanking on. But yeah.
yeah, so it's, rom-coms are the most obvious version of anything that breaks down your beats in a way that you'll be able to, as somebody who's maybe just starting out, look at it and be like, "Okay, so the character needs to be established here. The character's story, I mean, usually it's the love interest, but the character's story then needs to be established at this point.
Mm.
They need to go through something here." Like, it that is your friendly guide, in my opinion, to how to outline your beats if you are starting from nothing.
Well, and I think there's an element too of like as writers, we all think our idea is like brand new and you can't categorize it and it's the best thing ever and nobody can like you have 12 different genres to describe it. And it's like if you want to be commercial, you have to be really clear. She agrees.
She does, she's
We're going
clear.
commercial, guys. Let's go. But if you wanna be commercial, like, these categories are there not just to help companies, as a business, but it's to help readers. Like, when you're a reader and you're looking for something you want to read or you wanna watch a movie or if there's any storytelling you wanna consume, like, you're like, "I'm in the mood for a rom-com." You don't wanna find I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you wanna find a historical horror rom-com sci-fi movie. And it's
Pride,
like
Prejudice, and Zombies.
that's a historical rom horror. Is that a historical horror? What is that? What is
It's just, like a parody. Historical
Let's
rom it would
try
be
to
a historical
then.
rom-com. He's just nobody in it's a zombie. They're just fighting zombies.
A historical well, it's not historical, though. It's just based off of I mean, would you consider Jane Austen historical? She's not talking about, like, a
No,
specific
but
moment in history.
it's
Like an event, not she's talking about a time period, but
it's
not an event.
so it would be a periodical, like a
A period piece.
a period piece. There we go.
Ah, okay. So that would be a zombie period piece.
Yeah.
Romantic zombie mid horror. Oh man.
Rezombipus.
Basically, we might as well leave it at that. Anyways, genres are there to help people understand what they're getting into. Oh man, we've evolved this conversation. We were so on point for so long. Not that long.
But yeah.
Oh
So
man.
that's your best your best research friend. If you do want to, like, oh my god, I cannot talk. Um
Come on, you got this.
Genres.
There you go.
If you if you have if you if you have a specific genre that you're wanting to write and you're not quite sure what beats you need to hit, finding that genre and reading it. And don't
Yeah.
and I'm my biggest recommendation, you read it one time as a reader. You
Mm,
read it so you can enjoy it. And then
yeah.
you go through and you read it and you analyze the ever
Mhm.
loving crap out of it, because then it's going to show you what you need to show your
Yeah.
readers.
Yeah.
Because media literacy is, you would think it falls under common sense, but it doesn't generally always fall under common sense. And that's not saying that, like, people people are stupid. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, with the way the school systems are, with the way the educational systems are, sometimes people don't learn the deeper media literacy. Some people do. Like, you can write those really intense books and everything like that, and people will get them. But if you're looking to be more commercial, a lot of the times you have to find something that's more commercial and make sure you follow their guidelines that they've set, so that people who read these genres in a commercial standpoint will be able to understand in a wider variety than just very specific people, if that makes sense.
Well, and I think an element of that concept is that if you're a writer and this is your craft, you study your craft, right?
Yes.
So like
Yeah.
the average reader isn't necessarily making writing or storytelling their craft, so they don't necessarily need to have that deeper understanding of like how
Yeah.
sentence structure is, how story structure is, how character development goes. But if this is something that you want to be commercial in, understanding those things is really helpful for being able to elevate your project, to make it more engaging, to find those hidden meanings and story elements that you're telling. Um,
Lauren said, "Darcy, what you said sounds insulting. I'm gonna say it better."
I just condensed it, that's all.
No, it's fine. I didn't know how to
We
get the
found it
words
along
out.
the way.
You said it
We
much
found
better
it.
than I did. It's fine.
It's just building. We're building off of things. Remember, if you don't write it, you can't build off of it and tweak it and edit it and
That's the best advice.
there you go. Just get it on paper or
Just
say it
get
out
it
loud.
on paper. Yeah. Do we have anything that we can, like, recommend to people about, like, where to find, I mean, obviously Save the Cat. It's gonna tell you, like, obviously
How did you
always.
know, Darcy?
Um, but, I know with the I know with the character development we had, a free resource. I didn't know if we
Mhm.
maybe could had one for,
I would
outlining?
love to have one, but I would literally just be ripping Save the Cat's beat
Valid,
sheet.
okay.
So if you're a writer and you want a story outline, or beat sheet kind of thing, I would check out the Save the Cat website. They actually have a ton of really great resources. They have beat sheets that you can look at. You can also buy the book. We're not sponsored by them, but we probably should be given how much we talk about it.
Seriously.
But if you check out their website, I think they have a download you can look at. Yeah, they have a download that you can look at, and then they actually will do what Darcy was recommending you do for different movies, and I think movies specifically, but there might be some for books where it's like if you're writing horror, go look at the horror ones. That genre is called Monster in the House under Save the Cat. And so they also break up the genres into something different, which is super fun. It's a fun read. But yeah, like they'll actually break down different movies and show you, okay, this is the moment where this happens. This is the moment where this happens and this and this. And you can see that like all of these great movies, classics, modern, old, like there's so many different stories out there and they still consistently for the most part follow the same story structure. It's
Yeah.
just the way they tell it and the story they're telling specifically present it in a different way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of the times too, where the story beats and stuff come in, it's why, sometimes you'll, like, watch something and you're like, "This seems exactly like something else I've watched." It's it's just because everybody's following those beats, you just have to, add your own unique twists to them to carry that uniqueness for the
Well,
story.
you might find too when you read it, you might find yourself surprised at how much you already do it naturally.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Because I mean, you've been consuming literature and media and everything like most of us have forever at this point. So um everything that you create is kind of stemmed from what you've seen created.
Mhm.
Which is, like, always one of those things too when if you're worried about outlining and your story beats and stuff like that, and you're like, "Well, this feels like it's a lot like another thing that's out
Mm,
there." Most everything comes from something else.
yeah.
Original ideas are still original even if they seem similar because a lot of the times they stem from something else. I mean, look at 50 Shades of Grey, right? Not to, like, I'm keeping it PG, I promise, Lauren. But
Alright,
fi
I'm curious to see where we go here.
so 50 Shades of Grey was a Twilight fan fiction. That's
Right.
what it stemmed from. It was an idea, it was somebody else's idea that inspired that idea, but it's not the same as Twilight, like, they're
Well,
very
because they have their
different
own
concepts.
OCs and very different concepts.
Yeah, even though they have their own OCs though, like, if you when it was written, your main female and your main male character in 50 Shades were Bella and Edward.
Well,
That
to
was
be
who they
fair,
were.
Bella was a Mary Sue, so Mary
Yeah,
Jane,
and
Mary Sue, whatever.
yeah.
Bella was a no character.
Yeah, I mean, true, but I'm just saying, like, things are inspired by other things, and it's very
Yeah.
common, so even if you're like, "Well, I feel like this idea has been done, like, a bunch in the past," write your idea. I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna continue to say it, your story is worth writing if it's something that you enjoy, and even if the idea stems slightly from something else, it doesn't mean it's not gonna be good, and it doesn't mean it's not gonna be a hit because look at how many things out there are just like other things, and they're still good.
Maybe, in a future episode, we'll talk about the the nuances and the difficulty between, like, publishing as an indie or trad author and, like, fan fiction and stuff and all of the different like, the nuances of, like, creating something of your own to publish versus, like, creating something and, like, riffing off of somebody else's thing and then, getting published through all of that. How to, like,
Yeah, yeah.
make your work your own work even if it's inspired by somebody else.
Yes, yeah, and that's what, I was trying to get at is, like, that's why outlining is so important and your story beats is so important because even if you've had this idea stem from something else,
Mhm,
outlining it in depth and doing your story beats is how you're gonna make sure that you don't accidentally pull too much from another source that's not
mhm.
from your original idea.
Do you recommend or do you like to do, or I don't really know how to phrase this, but what are your thoughts, I guess, around consuming content in the same genre and the same style of what you want to write if you're writing a story? So, like, if you're writing a modern rom com that's set in the city, do you go and watch a bunch of modern rom coms set in the city to like get ideas to see what tropes are, all of those? Or do you make sure to stay away from those so you don't accidentally rip anything from that and put it in your own stuff?
I overconsume the genre that I'm basing off of.
Yeah.
So, like, ours is a little bit harder in some aspects because there's not a lot of zombie rom-com stuff.
Yeah, if
Um,
anyone knows of any zombie rom-coms, I'd
please.
love to hear because I literally know, like, 2.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, and even one of them, I don't even it's technically a zombie rom-com, but the main one of the main characters is a vampire. So I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
well, hmm.
Does that count?
But it's in a zombie apocalypse, so it works.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't have to be
Um,
zombies.
but I do to me that's good research for tropes and stuff because if these things have done really well, and I watch them and I consume them and I realize that they're hitting like very specific types of tropes, then I
Mhm.
know, hey, my story should also probably try to hit some of these tropes
Mm.
just so that it still is like consumable in the way that all these other ones were consumable that people really enjoyed.
Yeah. I think I have a somewhat similar view. It's a little different. I think the way I look at it is know your genre, like you're talking about. So do the research, like read books that are in the same genre, same type. Um, Also watch movies if that's helpful for you as well. But I think at a certain point, the research has to stop and you have to separate from that content to be in your own world, creating your own content. For us, like you said, it's pretty hard and easy at the same time because there isn't really anything else we can go reference specifically that is exactly a rom com. But we can go watch zombie, we can go watch rom coms, we can watch zombie coms, we can watch, zombie romance, I guess, with Pride and Prejudice. I
Yeah,
guess.
kind of.
Pride and Prejudice and zombies or whatever. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's an element of, like, you're saying of, like, understanding the tropes, understanding the beats, understanding those moments, and then finding your own twist for those and being like,
Yes.
"This is what's out there and this is what people enjoy in the story, but is it a good character development or is it just for commercial purpose just to, like, make people feel good in the moment, like, feel good consumer content, or is it that, but also good character development? Because you can have good character development in there, and then, like, that's one of the reasons we love Marvel so much, right? Like, OG Marvel, not necessarily current Marvel. It's just, like, like, random throwaway lines and jokes that come back in, like, 3
Yeah.
years to haunt you, and you're just like, "This was so great." Like, going back
Yeah,
and
this was
rewatching stuff,
done
it's like
well.
yes, it's like, it's so well done, or it's like, it's a moment that's, like, telling you so much about the character. Like, the one line that you wrote about that character's backstory is like, "What?"
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
I oh, I had a really good thought and I lost it. The, nope, it's gone. It was
dang,
something
aw.
about,
Yeah, what was it
oh,
about?
oh, 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 okay.
Yeah,
So with movies and books too, right? So something
yeah.
you'll always have to remember. So if you're writing a book and you're not writing a script or anything like that, if you're using movies as your reference point, you have to remember too that a lot of the times in these movies there's not enough time for the characters to hit all of the actual beats that they need to hit. So if you're like because a lot of the times, like, you can watch a movie and you can be like, "Oh, this feels a little rushed," or, "Oh, how did they get from point A to point B?" It's a more condensed version of what you write in a book.
That's what I would say. I would say it's a condensed version of what you can write in the book. They use visual to give you a lot more clues and depth and background than you necessarily would want to do in a book. They're, like, trying to show and not tell, and not that you're not trying to show and not tell in a book, but they're physically showing you,
Yeah, like
with color theory and everything.
yeah, they're gonna hit the really, really big story beats, like, every time that like so if you have a book that's converted into a movie, your book's
Mhm.
big story beats are always gonna be hit in that movie, but you're also gonna miss some of the more nuanced things about the character that makes them more 3D on paper.
Yeah, I would say maybe a different way that I would phrase it would be that, like, when you do that adaptation of book to movie, you're making sure, like you said, to hit the big moments and understand the big story that's being told, but you're oftentimes losing those ancillary characters and moments that can make the story more fun or more engaging or more in depth because they're not critical to the rest of the story. Like, if they didn't show up in the movie most of the time, and sometimes they have to tweak the story just a smidge because they lost that character, it's because it wasn't critical to move the story forward, even though it added some depth and stuff like you're saying. Like, if you look at The Hunger Games, the first one, the character who gives Katniss the Mockingjay pin is the mayor's daughter, and that wasn't critical because you had to introduce a whole new character, you had to be like, "Who is this girl? Why is she here?" But instead, it was given by a family member, I think, in the first one. But in the
It was by
books
the
now
cook. in the movie, like
She
the
bought
cook
it from
and
someone,
yeah,
and
in
I
the
think
black market.
yeah, I think that her sister gave it to her or something
She
at
gave it to
the
her sister, and then her sister gave it to her.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But so in the book versus the movie, that's the difference. But in Haymitch's book that just came out a little while ago, there's backstory on the mayor and who the mayor is and the mayor like the mayor's family, and that adds so much more depth to understanding the first book or the original book. But it
Yeah.
wasn't critical to tell the story in the movie format.
Yeah, so, that's basically what I was, where I was going with that is just, like, if you're using movies as your way of, researching the genres, just remember that you need to have more in the
Mhm.
book, was more or less where I was going with that because
Okay.
you will miss those, like, smaller nuanced things,
Yeah.
that, make the book bigger than what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, you have a
Um
lot more room to play with the story, and that's why, like, us working together is gonna be so much fun because you're gonna have so much to expand on in the novel than what I even had been able to envision in the beginning for the feature.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'll have more playroom. I can add characters that might not even show up in the
Yeah,
movie if I wanted
yeah,
to. Like
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the middle section that we're talking about being this, like, weird no man's land of, like, "What's out there?" There could be
Yeah,
dozens of characters that we don't even know about that wouldn't even make it into the movie, like you said, but they're just because they're not the most integral to the thing, but they could be setting up for other stories down the road.
exactly. Yes, exactly.
Breadcrumbs.
Yeah. So you always just wanna keep in mind, depending on what you're what you're doing, like what you're writing as a movie
Mhm.
or a book, what you're using to research that, you always just wanna keep in mind the different depths, because like, if you're
Mhm.
writing a movie and you really like to read books to research, you also have to remember that there's things that are gonna be needed to not be included in the movie. So it's just whatever you're using to research, just make sure you keep in mind that it applies differently to the media that you're creating.
Yeah, the medium definitely influences how you end up doing it. Like if you wrote a book and it got turned into a movie, you'd have to take an axe to a lot of things you really like. Like there's just
Yeah.
no way to tell a, 250-page book in an hour or an hour and a half.
Take The Host, for example,
Oh no, not again.
because that's a big book, and they had to cut out a lot, but the movie was, okay,
Maybe don't use that one as the
but but that the reason why the movie fell flat is because that's a hu it's over 1,000-page book that they made in a 2-hour movie, so you're gonna
why would
miss a lot.
why wouldn't they do 2 movies out of that? That's
Don't even get me started
also
on
that's
that.
more
I
money for them. That would have made more anyways, whatever. I don't know
Right, that
anything about that. I didn't read the book. I did see the
especially
movie.
because Twilight was such a hit and it's the same writer, so you'd think that they would have been like, "Let's spend money on this lady."
Anyways, we don't know anything about it, but
Anyways, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get on my soapbox about The Host again.
no, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, it's just an interesting take. But yeah, so I also we're doing this podcast so that people can hear us talk about the movie side, the writing side, and maybe down the road there'll be a decision that's made that everyone's like, "Why did you do that? That's so dumb." And we'll be like,
Yeah.
"Here you go. Here's the reason."
Here you go. Look at this episode.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, hopefully everything I said today has made sense because I feel like I've been digging myself a couple of holes with the way I've worded things.
No. Grandpa,
Lauren's like,
I'm
"Wait."
tired. That's just too dang bad.
Lauren's like, let me rephrase everything that Darcy says because it's offensive."
No, no. I'm just condensing, just
I
helping
know.
whatever.
Yeah,
Darcy, what
I'm
are you working on this week? They're gonna pivot.
I am working on the finalizing the character outlines because I think we're pretty much there with Matilda and Gregory. There's just a few things left for them. And then Bellamy, we're just working through him a bit because
Yeah.
he's uh, a character that I've pulled out of my butt that Lauren's got to be like, no, wait, hang on. I need to say
I like
too.
him. I like him. I like his character. He's got some good stuff.
um, and then, thanks. And then also working on story beats and outlining because we need to
Yeah.
set that up
Mhm.
to be ready by the end of the month.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So we are halfway through or a little over halfway through January now, and our goal is to be done with all of the development side of this book for writing it by the end of January. So yeah, I think we're at the point where we're just kind of cleaning up the things that took us a little bit longer or are taking us a little bit longer to figure out.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make sure that we're kind of battening down the hatches. We're making sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and that we have a really solid grasp on who these characters are and what journey they're going on, but also leaving enough room for Darcy to be able to play with the story and the characters as we go through it. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
well, that's what you're working on too?
Yes, yeah. I mean, we're both working on the same stuff until we get to
Yeah.
February. Then it'll be different. So everyone just has to put up with us having the same exact TDL.
Yeah, I'm like, I never know how to like bounce that question back whenever, because I'm like, wait,
No.
we're doing the same thing.
Yeah. But I think it's good to remind ourselves that we have until the end of the month, which is like only a week and a half, 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeesh.
So, we'll get there. We're pretty far into it. We have I think our biggest thing is going to be that, blank space on the map of the middle section, but we both have really fun ideas for how to fill it. It's just making sure it's cohesive and it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll get there for sure. And yeah.
Yeah.
And my other TDL is locking in our dates for recording for some of our podcast guests, which we're so
Yes.
excited about. Ooh.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we have
Remember,
some amazing people.
we do. You guys might notice we're doing a little bit different this season where it's bunch of us and then you'll get all of our guests.
It'll still alternate. Once we have the guests, it'll still be alternating, but it's helpful to take the first month to walk through a lot of this development stuff with everybody and just for us
Yeah.
to stay on track with it, because once we get into February and it's more of just like write, edit, reevaluate, write, edit, reevaluate. It's like it's going to be fairly consistent. So we wanted to get all of the good stuff up front and share that with you guys in real time, and then,
Yeah.
bring in all of our guests to share stuff with you. So yeah, I'm excited. We've got some really fun people.
We do. I'm very excited for all of our guests this season.
Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah.
be really cool.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. But I think that's about it. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
pretty good sized to-do list.
It
Still.
is a pretty good size to-do list.
Yeah. But we'll get there.
Well, Lauren, where can they find us?
Yeah, great question, Darcy. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We're on Instagram and YouTube as Misty Morning Stories, and Untitled Work and Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. And then, Darcy, where can they find you personally?
Me personally,
Not personally.
wow.
Personally?
Personally, I'm on Instagram at Darcy Michaela. And of course, remember, guys, to we always want to hear all of your stuff about your works in progress and everything like that. But if you don't like sharing it publicly, you can also email us at untitledworkandpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
If you just feel a little bit more secure talking about stuff that way, you are more than welcome. Our inbox is open.
And we would love to at some point do another section on our podcast episode called the Peanut Gallery, where we get to answer questions or just share wins with you guys. That actually would be really fun. So if you guys have a win that you experienced this week or this month, or you finished your book, send us an email and just let us know that you had a win, and we'll celebrate it with you and do a little shout out.
Yeah, we would love. I would love to do that. Just share in the love of the community.
Yeah, we're here to support each other. This podcast, while it is primarily about Darcy and I, unfortunately, just from the nature of us talking to each other, we want to be able to include the community as well as much as we can. So we've had a couple more comments, which has been super fun, that we've gotten to chat with people. And I posted a few times on Threads and gotten some wild responses. So that's been really cool to just be able to build community and stuff. So yeah, it's a process.
Everybody's a work in progress. It's a process.
It is.
Sorry. You said the thing and it triggered the thing.
It's like saying, it's like you're a deep sleeper agent. Darcy wakes up. Don't worry, guys. Just remember.
I had somebody say, it's a work in progress. And I was like, it's a process, when I was at work. Nice. And I was like, oh no.
Yes. I love it. Well, that's all I got. So if you want to be official, you can officially close us out.
All right. I'll officially close us out with like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes. With great power comes great responsibility.
And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. And remember, everybody is a work in progress. It's a process.
Absolutely.
We'll
See
see
you
you
later,
next
guys.
time. Bye.
Bye.